Taco Bell.
Okay. Yeah, you're being recorded.
Hi, welcome to Some Things You Should Know, the show where we're going to be talking about some depressing world events that have been going on in the news this past week. I'm Lauren, let's get started. The first thing you should know, drilling in the Arctic. But the polar bears, you may say, what will happen to them? I don't know, and it's kind of irrelevant to the rest of this story. The U.S. government has given Shell the approval to start the process of drilling for oil in the Arctic Ocean. There is believed to be an immense amount of untapped crude oil and natural gas in this northern region, and gaining access to it could help lower the U.S.'s dependence on oil. The state of Alaska supports this decision, possibly because they stand to gain revenue from this endeavor. But Shell has been met with protesters in Seattle who did not want their port used as the base for the oil drilling operation. Some of these individuals paddled out in kayaks to protest the docking of the oil rig, because in a fight between an oil rig and a kayak, everyone's money is always on the kayak. This event has brought back bad memories of the last time Shell tried to drill in the Arctic, which ended in an oil rig running aground and the Coast Guard narrowly rescuing all of the crew. With such good memories of the last time, who wouldn't want a reunion? Shell promises that it's taking more precautions this time around, but those against the experimental drilling warn that the nearest Coast Guard station is over 1,000 miles away, and that the technology doesn't yet exist to clean up an oil spill in negative temperatures and under ice. If nothing goes wrong, this could be great for energy. If something does go wrong, get ready for the biggest I told you so ever. The second thing you should know. A train derailed on Tuesday evening in Philadelphia as it was rounding a curve, injuring more than 200 people. The black box indicated that the train was going more than twice the speed limit, and the accident could have been avoided if an automatic brake technology had been installed. In Congress, the House had been arguing about Amtrak's budget, and they decided the day after the crash was the perfect time to finally hash it out. Great timing, politicians. But what's more depressing than politics? Earthquakes, which brings us to the third thing you should know. Nepal got hit again with another earthquake on Tuesday. Nepal was hit with its second major earthquake in less than 3 weeks after the first earthquake that killed over 8,000 people. Several buildings collapsed in the capital of Kathmandu, and people ran to the streets for safety. Nepal's military said that it found the wreckage of a U.S. Marine helicopter. The 6 U.S. Marines on board went missing when delivering aid relief to earthquake victims earlier this week. At least 3 bodies were reportedly found near the crash site, adding to the dozens killed by the second earthquake. Clearly, 2015 is just not Nepal's year. The fourth thing you should know. The saga of migrants at sea on boats continues this week, with thousands of refugees from Myanmar and Bangladesh being stranded in the Andaman Sea. Many of these migrants are members of the Muslim minority population who face persecution in Myanmar and are not considered citizens. The living conditions on these boats are unbearably harsh, and many have no captain or crew. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand are all refusing to take in any more refugees. The human rights chief for the United Nations is appalled at these countries who have been turning away migrants, forcing them back to the sea rather than helping them out. It's high school all over again, and no one will let the refugees sit at their lunch table. The fifth thing you should know, the trade agreement, or TPP. No, this is not extreme TPing, sadly enough. It stands for Trans-Pacific Partnership, and in a rousing game of opposite day earlier this week, Republicans backed it, saying it would be great for the economy, while Democrats quickly disagreed, saying it doesn't bode well for the American worker, resulting in the defeat of the bill. The TPP claims to be good for U.S. trade with Asian nations, saying that it will support American-made exports, enforce fundamental labor rights, promote strong environmental protection, and it will help small businesses benefit from trade. Anyways, after a whole day of fighting, Congress has reached an agreement and produced a fast-tracked version of this bill. After all this shenanigans, the actual passage of the bill won't happen until later next week, so we'll see what actually ends up happening. Oh, and another thing you should know. The jury has finally reached a decision on the Boston bomber case, and Tsarnaev has been given the death penalty. How much more depressing can the world get? Tune in next week to find out. But on a brighter note, depending on your side of the political spectrum, the Vatican has recognized Palestine as a state. That's all for this week. I'm Lauren, and this has been Some Things You Should Know. Have a wonderful weekend.